Hello, once again. Welcome to the Human Music live stream. And hopefully, people will be joining in to chat with me, interact, and hang out and all that. Um, Today, we are continuing on what we were doing yesterday, which was a funk tune, like trying to do like an old school, classic sounding 70s funk. And I started by playing some drums. And as I've boldly been doing recently, trying to have myself be the motor. So no metronome, no scratch track, just sit on the drum set and punch out a beat. And yeah, there might be a little bit of fluctuation because of that. There might be a couple of mistakes that we will try to find and fix. But that's how that ended up sounding like. Might need a little punchier snare sound. Filter out some lows. Compress it a little bit. A little bit of makeup. Right. And there's a little bit of reverb, which I'm using the Valhalla Fat Drums preset here. It's just a tiny bit. And I'm using a Chris Lord Algae 1176 by Waves compressor on the drums subtrack. We did a little bit of EQ on the kick, again to just dry it up a little bit, tighten it up. So a little dip on around 250 hertz, a little boost around 3K. And that's it. And that's all the plugins on the drums. Everything else is just straight what the microphone picked up. Right? We've got kick, snare, overhead pair, back overhead pair. So I have like a XY overhead on top of the drums in front of my face here. And then I have two microphones behind, open, like one at each side of the whole drum set. Those are my back overheads. This is future proofing, so I can do surround mix of the drums eventually. I do plan on having a Atmos setup in this room at some point. So then we did bass. Now I did two bass takes. First one was with my white precision bass, Fender Precision, and I put some flat wound strings on it, as James Jamerson would have done. And now James Jamerson was known as a funk brother, but Motown was actually a little bit before the kind of funk that I'm producing today. So it was a different kind of sound. So I ended up picking up my Yamaha PJ bass and did another take. And I thought that was better. But then when I was listening back to the live stream in my car yesterday, I actually thought that the P bass sounded nicer. Like there's something, these are headphones, they're not mixing headphones, they're broadcast headphones that have a microphone built in. So they're not the best reference. So I'm definitely going to finish mixing these songs at some point using my actual studio monitors, right? I'm not using them currently because I don't want them to be feeding back into my speech mic. So I'm doing basically pre-mixes of these songs using these headphones, just kind of getting them started. And at some point when I have 10 songs, I'll have a session where I'll just mix all of them. So I'll listen to them through speakers, through better headphones, and do proper final mixes and masters of these songs before I actually publish them. So today I'm tempted. Oh, I also did a little clavinet for that I used my little Yamaha stage piano here, which is surprisingly good for the price. It's the CK61. It's like the poor man's Nord stage, but honestly, it sounds pretty amazing. I'm a big Yamaha fan. My drums are Yamaha, my bass is Yamaha. I have a couple of Yamaha basses, 3 of them actually. And I still don't have a Yamaha guitar. Should get one. It'll probably be my next instrument purchase. Will be one of their nice Japanese-made, fancy Les Paul style kind of dual humbucker guitars. So the clavinet was just to sort of get the idea down. I don't think it's the final take. And the bass, I started fixing little things about the bass, but you know what? I think we're gonna go back to the first take that I did with the P bass. Because then when like I said, when I was hearing back the recording in my car, I was preferring the P bass. Both my performance and the timbre. And by the way, if you weren't here yesterday, my signal chain for the bass, since I was going for a Jamerson type sound, Jamerson didn't use an amp in the studio. He used an amp live, but not in the studio. So I used this little bass compressor going into the GHS color box. And what the color box is basically the an old Neve channel strip, an old Neve mixer channel strip circuit. So it's like recording the line in from an old mixer, right? So that's how I got this bass tone. And I also check out my Instagram, Quincas Moreira, or even in this YouTube channel, I also uploaded a short showing the little mute that I made. I used the Nerf dart from my daughters. They have these Nerf guns that we like to play around with. And I used one of the Nerf darts stuck in between the strings near the bridge of the P bass. And that got me a muted sound that I really liked. So that's what this is. So, all right, we're all caught up. So let's continue with the work. So basically, we're just going to listen to the bass and drums and try to fix. Sometimes the drums anticipate the downbeat, and I didn't always nail that with the bass. So we're going to just make sure that the bass and drums are nice and tight together. And then we're going to record guitar. I got my Ibanez here tuned and ready to go. It's kind of a modern guitar for this kind of music, but it's very capable of getting those kinds of sounds. It's got a 5-way switch and a toggle here that gives you another set of 5 sounds, and it's a dual humbucker. It's got a chunky neck, so it looks like a super modern guitar, but it actually sounds very classic. And that's what we're gonna use. I do have a Talkbox pedal that I got recently that I think will fit nicely. We have to think of some simple lyrics to speak as I use the Talkbox. Talkbox is a classic effect for funk music. All right, I'm talking way too much. Is anybody here? If you are, please say hi. I'd love to see the folks that were here yesterday, even though I'm starting way later today than I did yesterday. Am I? Yeah, yesterday I ended at around 1, so that would have been 15 minutes from now. So yeah, I'm starting a little later. I'm starting about 45 minutes later today. All right, so enough talking, enough blabbering, and let's just listen and fix little things about the bass take. And as I played the bass, I came up with kind of a form and structure. I went into the 4-chord for a bit of a B section, and then when the drums go into the ride cymbal, let me open this up so you can see me gesturing a little more. Yeah, when I went to the ride cymbal on the drums, that made for a cool bridge moment. There we go. So I went to the 6 which is the C. This is in E. I'm doing funk in E, folks. I mean, just if I'm gonna do cliches, let's do the full cliche, right? It is the lowest note of the bass guitar, of the 4-string bass guitar. So, all right, that's enough talking. I keep saying that, and I always find something else to talk about. I think I'm waiting for people to show up and say hi in the chat. Come on, who's here? Please say hi. All right, let me go on and fix this bass. All right, so ding 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 dong, right? The drums anticipate right here. Now, here's the question: should the drums anticipate, or should I respect the bass? Like, should I follow the bass? Should the drums follow the bass, or the bass follow the drums? You know, I don't know. Let's try. Let's try to move the bass note so it matches. Dun, 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 right? So it matches the drums anticipation. We're gonna zoom in here to make sure that the bass note is hitting there, right? All right, let's hear that. I don't know. You know, there's something about funk music that a lot of real funksters say. Everything's on the one. Always fall on the one. So even though anticipating sometimes works, maybe we should stick to the one, right? Remember, there's no grid here, so I'm actually gonna click on bars and beats here and remove the grid altogether. So I'm not even seeing it because I recorded this freely. Yeah, I think that's gonna work better. Now we have a little problem here now, which is a bit of a gap in the drums. So let's see what we can fill it with. Or maybe just a tiny fade here. That doesn't sound bad. That works. And we should probably do a little fade in here as well, where the drums are coming in, so that there's no click. Right. Now the crossfade here sounds a little wonky. We're gonna change it to equal power instead of equal gain, and that should fix it. Yep, that fixed it. Okay, that's something about the bass and drums here feels like should be a little more coordinated. Let's see. Okay, this note is like just floating there with no drums at all. Doesn't necessarily sound bad, but I'm thinking that maybe this note should be where this one is. So along with the anticipated snare hit there. Right? Like that. So let's hear what that sounds like. Okay. Now, this note was filling out the whole way until the next note here. and now it doesn't. Now we have a gap. So maybe it should be short like the snare, right? Let's see what. Yep. Okay. Now this bass fall here is coming in a little early compared to the drums. So that should probably match the drums. There we go. That should match the drums exactly. And then we do a little crossfade here. Now this bass note is also a little late, but it actually doesn't sound so bad. Let's hear it. Yeah, sometimes the graphics might look like it's off, but when you hear it, it doesn't bother you. So don't fix it, don't fix what ain't broke, folks. Use your ears and your sense of taste and criticism. Hi, David. Good to see you again, buddy. Nice groove. Thank you. Thank you. We're trying to do old school funk here, 70s. That's my favorite genre of music of all time since I was a little kid, probably. I mean, I liked the funk element in music before I even heard funk. And then one day I found this collection by Rhino called In Yo Face, The History of Funk. Had volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I think. And I was like, the holy grail, because I would hear funk elements and some jazz music and some Brazilian popular music and some rock and some contemporary stuff that was in the radio. And I didn't know that that's what I loved about those songs until I actually heard some real 70s funk music. And I was like, that is it. And even today, like one of my favorite bands is Wolfpack. They're basically reviving punk and renewing it, and even Snarky Puppy and other bands like that. Medeski Martin Wood in the 90s and 2000s, they were my favorite band. And really, it's all about the funk for me. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, that sounds more arranged. See, that's the idea here. Since I pretty much improvised the bass after improvising the drums, there will be moments when they don't necessarily match. So the idea here is to edit in order to make it sound like they were at least looking at each other, if not, having rehearsed. So I went to the 4 chord here. And the 5. Okay, here's a little anticipation again. Which I can try to match with the bass. Even though it doesn't sound necessarily bad that the drums anticipate and the bass doesn't on this. But again, it might help make this thing sound a little more rehearsed, a little more arranged, rather than just me jamming with myself. Yep. What is this, a ghost note? Yeah. Let's just make sure this ghost note goes along with the drums. It's a little early. I mean, you can't even hear it really unless it's soloed, but that was a nice little bass fill there. Maybe we'll try to match it with another instrument. That's the thing, how do you make an improvisation sound arranged? Well, just have other instruments do the exact same thing that the first improvised instrument did. And then all of a sudden, it's not an improvisation, it's an arrangement, it's a composition. As soon as you have a bunch of people doing the same thing, then clearly it's not improvisation, right? That has to have been decided on and agreed on. So you can start with improvisation and then make it sound arranged by just adding layers doing the same thing. This note should be dun, dun, instead of dun. Right. Let's just find this note. Here we go. Dun, dun. That's the one we need. This one. This one needs to be the one that I just copied. I mean, if I think about it, I could probably figure out what the note name is, but I'm one of those weird people that don't really think of note names most of the time unless I have to. I'm just thinking of sounds, just hearing them. There you go. That sounds better. Now, there's still something about this fill here that feels kind of sloppy, Maybe if I just make it a short note. And maybe make the change a little sooner. Yeah, that sounds a little bit less sloppy. So yeah, folks, as you see, it's a combination of spontaneous improvisation and careful editing. The editing part is the composer in me, and the improv part is the jammer in me. Change hats, At first I jam and let that spontaneous groove happen, and then I put on the producer's cap and listen for little mistakes and how can I make things better. Hold on, I need to put my phone in do not disturb here so I'm not getting notifications. This note feels like it's a little early. So see? It needs to match the drums on top there. Now we can always, clean up your edits, folks. Make sure that there are no clicks, because these clicks, maybe you don't hear them very prominently, but they start to add up and makes for a dirty mix. There you go. This note's no longer early. Okay, dun 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 dun. Right, I didn't anticipate on the bass, but I did on the drums. Dun 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 bang, right? So once again, we should probably move the bass note so that it. Now we're gonna try one thing, which is just move the entire note. But if we feel like the gap here sounds weird, then what we can do is just move the beginning of the note and then crossfade it. So basically make the note longer. We'll make it start sooner but end at the same place. Then I like it. I didn't mind that little gap at all. I guess I'm not so British, am I? Because the British always mind the gap. Oh boy, that was a horrible joke. I'm sorry, folks. Sometimes that happens. I am a dad after all. Yeah, that sounded okay. That little gap didn't bother at all. Now here the bass anticipated and the drums didn't, but that didn't bother me as much. It sounded just more like a phrasing choice from the bass player. Okay, here I feel like the bass is a little late with these articulations. Is it? Maybe just this right here. Yeah, like this second note should match the drums transient up here. Yep, that right symbol there. And this is also a little late, look at that. And then this one seems like it lines up. So I eventually caught up. Let's move these two back a little bit too. This one's a little less late than the other one. So right now I'm just using the graphics to guide me, not really listening. There are moments for that too, because it just makes it quicker. You know, if you know it sounds late and you want it to match the drums, then just fix it all looking at the graphics at first, and then here. That sounds better. That was the one little moment. And now this is one of the key traits of a good producer, mixer, engineer, is this attention, this ear for tiny little details, discrepancies that maybe the layman would just, they would just hear that it's like, oh, sounds overall sloppy, but they wouldn't know exactly like what about it can be fixed to remove that sloppiness. And that's something that I feel I've always had, or at least because when I started working in studios and I didn't even know how to man the Pro Tools, I was already sitting with the producers and engineers, and I was able to hear things and bring it to their attention, which was how they knew they could train me. They're like, oh, this guy could probably be decent at this. Because sometimes even they wouldn't hear some little detail, and I'd be like, hey, that little note, that's a little out of tune. Or that snare drum sounded like it was a little off, didn't it? That's an important trait that it's good if you have it. If not, you can probably develop it, but just by active listening, and practicing, uh, working a lot, and all that. Here's another anticipation from the drums. It even has a crash cymbal hit. Let's try to match it with the bass. Zoom in. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll sound better. Now, once again, let's see if this gap that's been generated now from moving the bass note, let's see if that bothers us or if we want to have the bass finish where it was finishing before. So that would mean having to make the note longer. I don't know, but let's try it. So one way to do this is to just use the trimmer tool and bring the edge of the region back, right? So now we've found the original spot where the bass note ended. Now we need to do a crossfade here. Crossfades are dangerous on bass guitar. So you have to, equal power helps, right? Which basically means the curves, the fade curves are more sinusoidal rather than linear, right? And so let's hear it again and see if we can detect that fade. Now I happen to put it right where there's a drum transient here, so that might help obscure it. And also we can make it smaller. We can make the fade, put it even closer to the drum transient and make it, shorter. So let's hear that. All Right, I don't really hear the fade, but I'm also feeling like the bass note is now too long. So maybe the gap was helpful after all. Now also, something about where that bass note is hitting still feels a little off. Maybe, yeah, maybe it needs to be a little sooner. A little crossfade there too. I don't hear a click, but you might as well. All right, so we did the experiment, but we're gonna let that note be as long as it was originally and end sooner than it originally did, because we don't want it to be that long. And you know, it might seem to you, wow, you're spending a lot of time on these tiny little details, Kinkas. And yeah, well, yeah, that's the work, you know. That's when you really hear something well produced and polished. Usually somebody slaved over it, you know, have little details about it. That's how you can tell, you know, something has been a labor of love and sounds very professional. Of course, you know, a really awesome studio band would help too. You know, I could have created this arrangement first, for example, and then called some amazing studio musicians, and they would have probably nailed everything, and I wouldn't have had to be slaving over little details in the edit as much, but still a bit, you know. But then you still have details about the mix, details about getting the sounds, you know. And there's always work to be done. Nice. Now here I did a little phrase with the bass, but the drums end sooner. See how the drums go kung tang tang kung, and the drums are going, the bass is going tugadegang, right? So it maybe should be togadung, so that it matches the drums ending. Let's try that. See, right? No, no, I like the bass phrase. I think actually the drums should be doing something similar. So maybe we can edit the drums to do that. I'm going to try something crazy here. I'm going to put this nice chunky snare and crash hit to match that last note in the drums there, and make it like a choked cymbal. So it's a little break there. Right? Now let's cut this so we can, you know, make it a longer silence. Right, and now, yeah, let's make the silence even longer, because now this hit was already happened here. We don't need it to happen. Now we can let it be longer, right? Maybe. I don't know. The short choked one might sound better. That's too short. There we go. Now here's another idea. The drums and bass are matching fairly well. However, it could sound good to just have a bass fill leading into the drums coming back in. So what would happen if we would just cut the drums even more and just let them come back in there, right? Quite a bit of silence here. It's very bold. Let's hear that. like it. We could fill that silence with something else later. But these things also help make the whole thing sound arranged, you know? Like, the drums aren't just mindlessly playing the whole time. There are planned silences. Wait a minute, there was another little anticipation here that I'm not sure the drums and bass matched with. Yeah, see, dum 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 dum, right? We'd want this note to be over here. This kind of sounds like a good intro. Let's just cut this and bring it to the beginning. Boom. I don't know. I don't have a grid to be able to do it accurately. So maybe I'll just paste it here and mute it. Okay. This will be the intro fill for now. Tang tagadang This thing. Dong 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 tang tagadang Dong 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 tang tagadang Maybe needs to be a little shorter in order to fit. 2, 3. No, shorter yet. And that's the thing with producing without a metronome. No, that's too short. Producing without a metronome is sometimes you gotta be. Everything's a little fuzzy, a little less meticulously accurate. So you have to do a lot of trial and error sometimes for certain effects. Now this is a little bit short. See, so we just add a little bit here. Doom doom. Matched it. I hear that. No, these are too short. It should be dong 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 pa pagadong. So that means I might need to move everything forward. Or maybe just use 2 of these. Like this, and then move them both to here. Let's hear that. Dong 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 pa paga. No, we need that first one. So I'm just gonna grab everything, grab everybody. So in order to do that, I'll select all tracks here. And again, see, I'm wasting a lot of time on these little ideas, right? But the idea here is don't consider it waste. Consider all of this, you listening to your own creative impulses. And that makes a difference. That makes a difference in music. The fact that you took the time to pursue a particular idea that you had, those things end up making a difference. A little bit more forward. And now we're going to copy. All right, now remove the all tracks selection here. And let's move a copy. So on Pro Tools, if you hold Option, you can, and use the little hand tool, you can move a copy of your selection. Instead of change the selection from one place to another, you create a copy and move that. Okay, now I get it. The last one has to be shorter. Dum 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 bak gaga, right? So the last one here needs to be a wee bit shorter than the other ones. Now, by how much? That's going to be trial and error again. Let's see if that's about it. Okay, no, it needs to be shorter yet. So I'm going to make it real short. So that it's not covering up the clipping there, the beginning. Okay, a little bit closer. It's almost there. Okay, and now we can, fill it in. Dun, dun, and we can even let the bass note be a little longer. Let's see if that. Kind of like it, but I'm not sure. Now, yeah, it's nicer to be if it's short, so that we hear that snare fill isolated. So we give it its own moment in time. And maybe even give the drums for the fill. Give a little volume boost here. So I have the sub drums track, right? We give that snare fill a little volume. There we go. Not that much. Maybe let those drums live a little louder in the whole track. Let's just make sure it's not clipping on the master, and it is, huh? It is a little bit. Yeah, so no, we don't want that last little bit there. Maybe we want to bring the bass down a little bit. Yeah, it's just bass and drums, so if I'm feeling like the drums are too soft, what's actually happening is that the bass is too loud. So let's get rid of this automation. We'll turn the bass down a little bit. And now the psychoacoustic effect will be that everything will sound softer now. So I can just bring up my own monitoring, my own headphone mix, bring it up so I'm still hearing things as loud as they were before. Now let's look at that master there. Oh, well, still a little bit. So, here's what we'll do. We're going to select bass and drums. I'm going to group them, bass and drums, so that we can move them together. Because right now I'm already happy with the balance between the two. We can bring them down together. And now we look at the master here to make sure we're not clipping. Let's even give ourselves a little bit more headroom. Because there's going to be maybe horns and other things that'll add. So let's give ourselves headroom. Uh-oh. Now look, there's drum automation happening. So that means when I move the bass relative to the drums, the drums go back. So I'm basically only lowering the bass. So what we need to do is get rid of all the drums automation. So I'm just gonna double click here on the sub drums and delete. So now there's no automation, no volume automation on the drum track. Now we can actually bring them both down together. Now I feel like the bass is a little loud. We can bring up the whole thing on the headphone mix here. That's important. Always give yourself headroom when you're working. See, our master here is no longer hitting the red. It's peaking at around -4 dB. That's probably enough. I mean, some people like to work at -6 or even -12. But I'm pretty happy at -6, -4 there. If I have to, if do this again later. Do a little adjustment. Now this is already sounding much more like tight together, right? Like the bass and drums were looking at each other, which obviously they weren't because they were both me at different moments in time. Who's here? Say hi in the chat, folks. Compress the attack a little bit on the bass. Not much, but a small amount of compression only on the attack. Good idea, David. I did record the bass with a compressor pedal, but that doesn't mean I couldn't use a little more compression. Let's see about Dave's suggestion here. All right, now important detail here. Once I've done this adjustment, I'm gonna disable the bass and drums subgroup that I created. So now I have, they're no longer grouped and I can solo just the bass, for example. And I think I know what Dave means, that the attack could be a little tighter, could be a little more more transient on the bass. So that would mean compress with a slow attack. And we have the Renaissance axe, but that doesn't give me an attack control, does it? Oh yeah, it does. Right. So I'm gonna bring down the gain a tiny bit to give myself. Now we make the attack a little slow. That way we get a little more sharp transient in the bass attack. Is that what you meant, David? Does this sound better to you? It does to me. We get a little bit more bite on the bass. Now I just heard a click there when I was soloing. Hey Rotas y Lugares Brazil, welcome to the stream today. We're doing some funk. Yeah, we need to do a little bit of crossfades here on these notes. Tiny little crossfades. No, this one's still clicking. Right, we don't want clicks. This could maybe decay a little faster, so it feels a little more natural. I like this don con con. And when I did the other bass track, I went dum 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 dum, which is cool too, and I think I'd do it later, but I like this one. I just dum 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 dum. It's very classic funk. Now somewhere else I heard another click. Now interestingly, here's an edit that has no crossfades and it didn't click, but the OCD in me is going to want to do crossfades there anyway. Yeah, this P bass with flat one string is just sounding super nice. I recorded it too hot, and you can see that it's clipping a little bit. See how it's square? But, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, don't guide yourself too much by the visuals, because sometimes something might look clipped but doesn't necessarily sound bad. And it would have been a shame to lose this take just because of that. So I let my ears be the judge, and and they judged that it doesn't sound too bad. The clipping was pretty soft. Where's that click? I haven't heard it again yet. Now let's let the drums come back in and continue with our cleanup. If we hear that click again somewhere, we'll clean it up. Something about the drums here feels like a little mistake. See, I feel like I kind of missed. Let's, yeah, I'm gonna put that. I copied this kick and hi-hats here from this portion, and we're gonna put them over here. Yeah, see, there's a hi-hat sounding, and the kick is late, especially compared to the bass. So we're just gonna plug in this earlier, stronger kick and hi-hat right there. Yeah, that sounds better already. I can bring this back so we fill in the gap and do a crossfade. Also, it could be dagang, right? As the bass is doing. So what we could do instead is grab this whole thing here. No, right? It's don't. Put it here, and then adjust the second one so that it anticipates along with the bass note. And that's cheating, folks, because sadly I am no, who am I going to say? I'm no Zigaboo modeliste as far as funky drummers. I'm no Dave Garibaldi. I'm no Steve Gadd. Sadly. So my drumming sometimes needs a little editing. There we go. This sounds way better now. Now, yeah, it feels like the bass note here is a little anticipated compared to the open hi-hat there. You could fix that too. Am I being too meticulous, folks? Am I getting too... It might seem that way, but in the end, when you hear the overall tightness improvement, it'll be all worth it. Especially, it's important, something I mentioned yesterday. Try to do your fixes as you record each thing, right? Because then when I record the guitar now, I'll be recording over a really tight bass and drums track. If I record the guitar over sloppy bass and drums, that'll make for sloppier guitar, more mistakes to fix, and things start compounding. So I really like to focus on each thing as I do it, you know, as part of the process. I record, fix little things, and then move on to the next instrument. If you let all the fixing, leave all the fixing for later, you'll be compounding problems and things would get much more complicated. Hey, Turpana. Nice, you're from Denver. Cool. I've been to Denver long time ago. On my way to Aspen Snowmass for skiing. And love Colorado. Have good friends from there. Anyway. Okay, here we have a bass fill that didn't quite finish. Okay, there's one little note here that I think shouldn't even be there. It should just be silence right here. This one. You know, it's in the wrong place. It's maybe not the right note. Let's see. Right? The drums anticipate. So we need this note. And also, look at the transient. It looks so much smaller. I think I played it too soft. This one's much fatter. So why don't we steal this one, put it here? And as we're doing it, we also make sure that it's matching the timing of the drums so it doesn't feel like it's late, right? Now, we covered up a little bit of the second note here, so let's make sure that we uncover it and do a crossfade. Now, that's way better. Now, this bass note's a little early, it seems, right? A little rushed. Let's do a zoom in here so we can see, let's look at where the drum transient is and where the bass note is. So in fact, why don't we move this? Now we have to delete that crossfade there. Yeah, so we want this note to match that open hi-hat hit. And now we can fill in with the previous note. Make little crossfades so there's no clicking. And let's hear from before. Take it. I feel like this note is also a little early. Or late. Let's move this to here. Aha, that's better. That's better. See, I know it's boring. Isn't it boring? I'm sure I'm losing audience here because I'm getting so microscopic with tiny little details. In fact, I think the drums are late with this anticipation. So what we can do is bring everybody back. So select all tracks, shuffle, and let's just cut a little bit. So now everything moved to the left a little bit. Let's hear that. That sounds better already, but maybe a little bit more even. Let's try that. Ooh, I think I fixed it, folks. Yep. I think the drums, the anticipation wasn't anticipated enough. So it was a little bit of a mistake. If I had been playing with a click, I would have derailed from the click at that point. So. Sounds way better now. Bass gets way more active here. Ooh, digga 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 digga. Wow, I did a whole completely different thing here that wasn't in the song at all at first. You know, just these long bass notes going down scalarly. So that's interesting. When I did my second take, which we discarded because I ended up liking the first take better, we did something different here. I think we did the same harmony. Oh my God, my dogs are going crazy. Can you all hear my dogs a lot? I should probably go close that window. Oh, anyway, they'll stop soon. It's probably somebody walking their dog. No, you know what? I don't love this part. I think I did better with the other bass take. I like the ending of what I did with the other bass. Sadly, it was a different bass with a different bass sound. I don't know if we should use it, right? Can I maybe approximate the sounds with EQing? Compression, volume and stuff? Because listen with me, I think you will agree that what I did musically... Uh-oh. Hold on. We changed the whole thing. Alright, because it's no tracks. So no more all tracks. I think you will agree with me that what I did musically with the bass from here on sounds better on the second take. Check it out. Alright, but this didn't follow my edits, so it's not gonna sync. So we have to manually sync it. Hold on. Alright, so this note should match the beginning of this moment in the song. So we're gonna mute what comes from before. Right, this is way better. And this was with the Yamaha bass, with round one strings. Surprisingly, doesn't sound too different. So here's what we'll do. Let's open a new track here. We'll call it bass 2. Sorry, bass 2. And we'll do one of two things. Either we'll use this as reference and I'll bring up the P bass from before, try to match the sound, and follow this idea and re-record with the P bass. Or we'll try to match the sound by mixing. So we're going to bring this one down to here. And we'll revert this one back to the first take and mute this section. Right, so now it's going to go from the P bass to the Yamaha. All right, I think we need to let this last note breathe here and not anticipate the first note of the Yamaha, so it matches the right. Dinga digga digga digga. You know what? It's surprisingly sounding similar. I think I used only the P pickup on the Yamaha, so it's virtually, it's actually a similar pickup in a similar place on the body of the instrument. And I also used the mute. So I could probably get away with just combining the takes. Hello, Nico. Som groovy. Obrigado. think this whole, I mean, I'm having to adjust it by hand, right? Yeah, so I think I adjusted it maybe a little early, a little on top. Seems like the bass is rushing a tiny bit. So let's move it a little bit behind and see if that sounds better. But yeah, I think I'm gonna get away with it, folks, especially when there's other instruments and stuff. Nobody's really gonna notice that I changed basses. And even if I did, if it works musically, who really cares, you know? If it doesn't sound bad. I think I'm remembering which song of the funk canon is kind of inspiring me subconsciously here. It's become conscious. Skin Tight by the Ohio Players. Do y'all know that song? Skin Tight. Dun, 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 dun. That's the bass line. And the horns go da 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 da. And they go skin tight. I think that's been my reference for this song. Sometimes, my references are very conscious. I choose them, listen to them, but in this case, it's coming out of my deep memories. Yeah, sounds good. And this one already has that sharper attack, David, that you wanted on the P bass. The Yamaha already kind of has that. Now this note here, this anticipated note needs a tiny adjustment. It's early. Let's make it a little later. Yeah. Now this made clicks, so we're gonna clean them up with crossfades. Yep, see? That kind of perception of tiny little details, not only noticing that something's off, but being able to identify exactly what it is that's off, is a great ability for a producer, composer, engineer to have. This one too. A little bit too soon. Oop. Yeah, that's it. Now remember, I'm not using the grid. I recorded all of this grid free. It's kind of the part of the point here of humanmusic.org. I mean, for some things I might use clicks, but I much prefer for the clock of the song to be human, to be coming out of myself. Like that's just me playing the drums with no click, no backing track, no nothing. And I'm not really a greatest drummer, but still, the idea is that the drummer isn't following, the drummer is leading, right? That makes a difference. When I'm playing to a click, I'm following that click, and that removes from my person, from the source. I'm no longer the source of the groove. I'm following it. And I mean, a great drummer can play to a click and still make it feel like they're the source of the groove, probably because at some point they just become the source and they're so good at their time that they can be the source and still match the click. But I'm not that drummer. I end up following the click. So I prefer to just not play with the click at all and let these things be human and organic, right? It's kind of the point here, humanmusic.org. That bass has great tone. Karaoke Kinkas? What do you mean, David? Karaoke Kinkas. I wonder what you mean by that. Yeah, both basses have great tone, don't they? It's the Yamaha and the Fender P, both with the P pickup, right? So they both sound really good. Nice. I kind of like that little fill I did with the bass at the end. Let's see if we can use this last drum fill that I did. Let's see if we can use that to complement the little bass fill there, so it's not all alone. I think I can match the bass phrase, but then I'll have to anticipate the last hit, the last drum hit. That's what my intuition is telling me. Let's see. Right. See these three notes? Dun, dun, dun. These should match dun, dun, dun. And this should match this. But then this last hit here, I'll have to bring it back. But I think we'll make it work, folks. Yep, the dun, da, dun works. But then the last bass note needs to match this last hit right here. So we're just gonna bring it back and synchronize it to the last bass note. It's a little crossfade. Crossfades are important, so there's no clicking. Real stickler for that. You know, a lot of producers who have not been trained as engineers get sloppy with these kinds of little details, and then if no engineer ever sees it, then those clicks will just live there. If an engineer does see it, he or she will probably complain about the producer, like, what a sloppy producer, and they'll have to spend, either them or their assistant, spend some time going over the whole track and cleaning up little clicks from the editing. But I have been trained as an engineer. My first 2 or 3 years working in studios, I was an engineer in training. I eventually got promoted to producer, but not before I had to clean up a whole bunch of other people's clicks. All right, let's hear this in context from behind a little bit. I don't know, it sounded kind of weird right now. You know what? Maybe we don't need this whole part of the fill. Maybe we can just let that last crash die out and only hit at the very last note of the bass fill. We'll let the bass do the fill all by itself and end with the last crash. Yep, I like that better. I don't think the drums needed to. Oh, see, I get anxious and I like don't let the cymbal die out, and I'm already like putting the sticks on the snare and getting up and making noise. So that means we're probably gonna have to cut that last crash short. Right, see? This is where I'm putting the sticks on the snare. I should just take a breath and let that cymbal die, but since I didn't, we're just gonna cut it here. Fade out the song from about here, maybe. Now we need this fade to be more, so instead of equal power, we want equal gain and then make it more linear, like this, and also have it start sooner, so that feels more natural. There we go. All right. I think we finally have bass and drums after 3 hours of work. you know, uh, but I'm happy. I'm happy with, and bass and drums in funk music. Do I have to tell you it's the most important thing? Do I have to tell you it's the foundation for everything else to be able to work? I was singing the Ohio Players. That's right, David. That's why you're saying Kinkas karaoke. Skin tight. Go. I'm not gonna put the song in my stream because I might get like copyright stricken. But go listen to Skin Tight by the Ohio Players, folks. That's my subconscious, not so subconscious anymore, reference for this song. Skin tight. Bum, 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 da, da, bum, 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 da, da, da. You're a bad, bad woman. Yeah, it kind of fits. It's not identical. Thank God. That would have been plagiarism. Here we go to the B section, which is just going to the 4 chord, also a classic funk move. Skin tight. I gotta think of some lyrics to use the vocoder with, or the talk box rather. If anybody has any idea, it's got to be something like "Give Up the Funk" or "Skin Tight" or "Shake That Booty." A funk anthem kind of a thing to say that isn't copying some other funk tune. Tear the roof off. Shit, goddamn, get off your ass and jam. There's so many. We gotta come up with one. I used to say, you gotta get up to get down, and you gotta get down to get funky. Maybe that'll work. That's kind of mine. Haven't really heard that in another tune. Even though it sounds super obvious, right? I'm sure somebody's said that before. To get down, and you gotta get down to get funky. You gotta get up to get down, and you gotta get down to get funky. You gotta get down to get funky, funky. Should I Google that? Maybe there's a song. You gotta get up to get down, and you gotta get down to get funky. Gotta get up to get down, and you gotta get down to get funky. Get up, get down, get funky, get loose. It's not exactly the same. Teddy Pendergast. Brass construction, get up to get down. Yeah, so there's like bits of it. But maybe not the entire thing that I just said. You gotta get up to get, maybe you gotta get up to get down. Oh, there's a Ringo Starr song called You Gotta Get Up to Get Down. Can I listen to it without getting copyright stricken? Let's see the lyrics. Gotta get up, gotta get up, you gotta get up to get down. That's it. But it doesn't say you gotta get down to get funky. See, that's the conclusion to my call and response. So I guess I could probably get away with it. What about you gotta get down to get funky? You gotta get down to get funky? Anybody said that? No. Doesn't look like it. Not exactly. Gotta get down to get funky lyrics. Gotta get funky. No, it doesn't say. It says you gotta get funky, but it doesn't say you gotta get down to get funky. See? It says get down, get funky, but not you gotta get down to get funky. That might be original. That might be my own thing. So who else is here? I see David, I see Nico, I see Turpana, I see Rotas y Lugares Brasil. Please say hi, anybody that's here today, hanging out. So what do we do now? I was doing a clavinet yesterday as um, second melodic harmonic instrument, uh, and that was sounding really nice actually. However, okay, we got a mixer here today for my keyboard sound, but for some reason, let's see, that's channel 3 and 4. Oh, wait a minute. It's a stereo input. Line in, oh, you're right, line in 3 and line in 4. Left and right. Channel 4 on my mixer. No effects, level. Why is the keyboard not making sounds? It is plugged in. Channel 5 and 6. Here we go. Channels 5 and 6. But that's not making sound either. It's making sounds off the speaker, built-in speaker. Bluetooth. We don't want Bluetooth. Main output here. All right, mix 1. We want main outs left and right from mix 1. No, these are the main outs. And I'm pretty sure they're balanced. There are some levels here. Effects level, headphones level, line, phantom power, main. Why am I not hearing anything? Mix 1 level, mix 2 level, headphone outputs. Yeah, I hear some buzzing when I touch the tip of the cables. Yep. Are they balanced? Yeah, balanced, unbalanced outs, left and right. I wonder why I'm not. Here we go. I guess the keyboard is just. All right. Plugged into inputs. These are the outputs over here. This keyboard has inputs for some reason. There we go. Yeah, see, I have this little Mackie mixer here that I have for live stuff when I need like a small mixer for live. And I decided to start using it because I was getting noise from the cables going from the keyboard to my interface because there were long cables going all around the desk. So what I did is now I have short cables going into the mixer and then balanced cables from the mixer to the interface. And that also allows me to plug in more instruments than just this keyboard. I can also use this little organ here, which is on channels 5 and 6, right? There we go. And I have a little reverb if I want it. If I want some reverb. And I have 2 mic inputs there too that I can also use. So that's going to make things a little more flexible here in the studio. Always improving. Oh, I love the sound of this keyboard. I'm so pleasantly surprised with the quality of the Yamaha CK61, honestly. And I'm not even endorsed. I should be. I'm such a Yamaha fanboy. My drums are Yamaha. My bass is Yamaha, my keyboard's Yamaha. I also have Yamaha old stuff. I have my first keyboard, professional keyboard. No, both, not just the professional. My first keyboard was the PSS 480 Yamaha from the 80s, small keys, that I actually used in bands because in Brazil it was so hard to get, professional instruments that that thing was considered pretty professional because the sounds were decent. And then I got an SY22 in, I think, 1988, probably, maybe 89. And that was my first full size keyboard, no speaker, so it's professional. And and now I have a TG33, which is the tabletop version of the SY22. So it has all the same sound. So for me, it's so nostalgic. And then it's a Yamaha as well. Hey Yamaha, if you're listening, endorse me, give me free stuff. Hey guys, who's here? Say hi in the chat, please. So, should we do a clavinet or should we start with guitar? I think we should start with guitar actually. Just makes more sense right after the bass to do some guitar. And this is my Ibanez. See, I like the Japanese stuff, folks. I like the American instruments too, but I'm a big fan of Yamaha and Ibanez. Have Ibanez basses, Ibanez guitar. It's great little, very lightweight, headless guitar, easy to take on trips, and really lovely feeling neck. Great sounding pickups with lots of amazing combinations. Right, so let's do this. I'm gonna plug it in. I have a few options here for guitar. So I have the HX Stomp, which has lots of really nice presets for guitar. This is connected to this amazing reverb by Strymon, the Night Sky. But that's more for like more ambient stuff, right? And then I have another chain here. Like this EB box basically changes between this chain, which is just the Stomp and the Night Sky, and this other chain, which includes some little pedals. And one of them is the Pod Express, which is also a guitar amp sim slash effects processor. That sounds really nice. So either the HX Stomp or the Pod Express, or I could actually use an amp. I have a little tube amp over there by Monoprice of all things. It's a super cheap amp that I got off Amazon, but it is tube and it sounds super nice. Small amps in the studio are cool. David is saying that the CK61 is better than the Nord Stage. Wow, that's a bold claim, sir, especially considering the price difference between the two units. But I think if you take the price difference into consideration, then yes, as far as bang for your buck, as far as a return on the investment, I think the CK61 does beat the Nord Stage. Now the keys, the action on the keys is really nice, but it's very light. So that's, I think the Nord Stage beats it there. But then you do have the CK88, is it? Or is it 76? So the bigger version, the bigger brother of my keyboard here, I think it has weight action keys, or at least semi weight action. So that would be more of a competition. But it's also bigger, heavier, and more expensive. So I'm so happy with the CK61. If I ever have to go out to play live, it's what I bring. That's in fact what I got it for. I didn't think I was going to be using it so much in the studio. But yeah, it's super chuffed with my CK61. Gets dirty though. Have to clean it up. All right. So now if I want a wah-wah sound for my guitar, I have a third pedal option, right? So I have the HX Stomp, I have the Pod Express, and I have the amps. I have the tube amp over there. I also have the Boss Katana amp. Can you yeah, right over there. Boss Katana, which I mostly use for rehearsals and jams and stuff. But it also has pretty decent simulation of a bunch of different amps. Now that's so far 5 options, right? No, 4. 2 pedal options, 2 amp options, and I have a 5th one, which I think might be the one for today because it's my analog pedal board with an actual wah-wah pedal that we might need, and it has another amp simulation pedal in there, the Boss 200, something 200. I can't remember what the prefix is. And since that has a wah-wah pedal, it might be what we need. Let me pull it out. It's a little bulkier, right? Takes up more space, and it's a little bit more trouble than using these all-in-one simulations. Ugh, it's pretty heavy too. Oh, here it is. This is my actual analog guitar pedal board. Let's have a look. Here it is. Right, and this actually has like a phaser. It's like a Mutron clone, MXR compressor, an analog delay, carbon copy. I think this is gonna be what we need. I have a blues driver, distortion. I have another distortion over here, octave tuner, and this is the Boss IR impulse response IR22, which simulates amps. So give me a minute because this thing is a little bit like disassembled. Actually, it's gonna need me to actually like plug some things in. But we'll start by pulling it out of the case. But you know, again, taking my time here to do things right, not rushing. There's no rush. There's no client waiting for these songs. They're just for my own personal library. I also have an envelope filter that I got recently, which could be really nice. It's classic DoD that I used to have back in the 90s when I saw that Digitech had bought DoD and was reissuing these things. I couldn't help myself and got it. But the carbon copy was what was originally in here in this position, so that's what we're gonna put in. We need to plug in the power as well. It's got Velcro, so I can just push it in and it stays. Right, and I have the power supply for the whole pedal board right here. And yeah, I think that was it. That was the only thing I needed to plug back in was the carbon copy, because I had removed it to test the DoD envelope filter. Now the envelope filter through the Pod Express might also work really well. In fact, even the Pod Express might have an envelope filter effect already. Does it? No. It has tremolo, chorus, flanger, phaser. No envelope filter. So that could be an option. Use the new DoD that I got and haven't even recorded with yet through the Pod Express and get a really cool funky sound that way. But hey, an actual foot wah-wah might be just what the doctor ordered. So let's plug in the pedal board to power. There it is. There it is lighting up. It's got a tuner pedal too. Let's turn it so that I'm more comfortable playing this thing. And yeah, it's got a wah-wah, it's got an amp simulation. So why don't we plug this in to the little mixer here. And so I just need to grab 2 guitar type cables. And I still have 2 inputs. In fact, it could be even in mono. Could be mono. Oh, here I have another set of 2 nice quality cables with Neutrik connectors that I like to use in the studio. These will work. We're going to plug these in to my little Mackie mixer. Same one that the keyboard is plugged into. It's nice to have a little mixer in the studio. That way you don't have to always be plugging and unplugging things. You can use just one pair of inputs in your interface and then use the mixer to route anything else. Okay. So here we're going to go into inputs 1 and 2 of the Mackie. We're going to have to manually pan them left and right because those are mic inputs. They're not like a stereo pair or anything. So let's, oh no, guess what? There's no panning on this Mackie mixer. So those inputs are necessarily mono. They're centered. Yeah, this is a very bare bones mixer, like for podcasts and things. So we're either going to use mono, or what I can just do is just pull out the keyboard and use the stereo input of the keyboard for the guitar pedal board. There it is. Okay, now we need to plug the guitar in to the pedal board. And hopefully all this waste of time has been worth it. Y'all been looking at me as I just like pull gear out and connect cables. How boring is that, right? Sorry. But it's all for a good cause, folks. All right. So let's tune E, A, D, G is a little high. No, it's there. B, and E. So Edgar had already tuned this guitar before I started the stream today. Right, so no octave, no tremolo, no chorus, no driver. We want the wah-wah. Wow, that already sounds so funky. Maybe we want the compressor too. A little more sensitivity. Now sounds super soft, right? Because I probably need to bring up the volume on the level here. 3 and 4. Also the main output of the mixer. Now, is this the amp we want? It's on the natural setting. Hold on, let me bring the GoPro near here. So I'm running out of battery, but I think it can handle a little bit more. Here, can you see the pedal board better now, folks? Yeah. It's on the natural 1 setting, which actually sounds pretty nice. Here's a jazz chorus. Sounds nice too. A little bit of carbon copy delay. Wow, yeah, I love this pedal board. I should use it more. I get lazy. I get lazy to pull it out because I've got all those little all-in-one pedals. Blues driver. Well, no carbon copy because this is funk. We wanted it dry. The blues driver is giving it a nice little bit of grit there. But do we want the grit or do we want it super clean? How about the Mutron phaser? Ooh. Maybe we want that for the B section, right? A little slower rate with the wah-wah. By the way, you're hearing a little reverb. That's from the IR200 pedal. It has a little hall there, which I'll probably turn off so I can use my own reverb in Pro Tools. No, I don't think I want the Mutron. I think all I want is the compressor, the wah-wah, and the amp sim. But is it the JC or a twin? This is like a Fender twin sound. Or do we want the tweed combo? This one has more drive. Who's here, folks? Say hi in the chat, please. Do I want this or do I want... I think the JC was sounding really nice, the jazz chorus. Yeah, let's just use the JC. It's a nice, clean sound. I'm going to turn down the hall effect. Now, pickup configurations here. This is the neck pickup. Here's the bridge pickup. And there's a whole bunch of in-between settings. I kind of like this one. This is the middle position on my 5-position switch on the Ibanez, with the toggle up, the toggle down. Sounds like this. They're all sounding nice, right? Okay. You know what? They're all sounding so nice that I'm just gonna leave neck pickup only, toggle down, and go with it. You know, no sense wasting more time. And this is already sounding so good. So who's here, folks? Say hi in the chat, please, so I know I'm not alone. I need to tune again because I've been strumming away and shifting things a little bit out of tune. Yeah, the D string definitely went down. G string. A little high. G string a little high. That's what he said, right? Another bad dad joke, okay? Oh, I think we need to turn off the wah-wah to be able to tune well. There we go. B. The E's a little low. E. A little low. A okay. D okay. G okay. B okay. E okay. Good. Everything's in tune now. All right, so let's record some guitar, folks. Finally, instrument number 2. What have we been doing? 4 hours now. I'm really taking my time with this one because I want it to sound nice. So stereo audio track. We're gonna call it Guitar 1, and it should be ADAT inputs 7 and 8. That's where the Mackie mixer is going in. We want to make sure that low latency monitoring is on. Why not turn on heat? It's Pro Tools' little system for simulating analog consoles and tape recorders. It's subtle, but why not? We'll leave it on. Now, why can't I see it? Heat is on. View or window. I want to see the heat. Is it on the other window? Why don't I see the heat controls? No, see, this just opened an auxiliary track I didn't need. What's this audio track I also don't need? Delete. Oh, wait. Oh, right. No, this is the second bass, isn't it? Let's see. Audio. No, there's nothing there. Delete. Contains alternate playlists. What alternate playlists are in here? Huh. Nothing there either. So let's just delete this track. Yeah, delete it. So we have all of our drums. We have all of our bass. The clavinet I have already deleted, I think. Yeah. We have guitar. Track is modulating. Didn't need to be stereo because I'm no longer using the reverb. It could be just a mono track, I guess. Let's do that. Let's delete this track and open a new one in mono. Let's call it Guitar 1. Guitar 1. And we'll just take input 7 or 8. ADAT 7 or 8. Right? Alright, so I don't know. Let's I think I'm procrastinating. I should just record. Let's see what comes out. And sadly, since I didn't use a metronome, I'm not going to be able to be moving guitar parts around in the arrangement because probably there's fluctuation in the BPM. So I'm really going to have to nail the whole song. So let's do it. Maybe something really simple, like James Brown simple. Maybe, does it even need the wah-wah, maybe? You know, I kind of feel like it should leave that hall reverb on. It wasn't sounding so bad. And that way I don't need to add reverb later. And I feel more inspired right now playing it. I think I'm gonna have to jam with the track a little bit, folks, until I can find like the right super simple guitar riff. Could be just a single note, you know. Let's see. Alright, let's raise up the GoPro a little bit so y'all can see me play the guitar. And I think this is getting there. You know, a couple things. So first, I feel like it's distorting. I'm gonna bring the gain down and the level up. It's still distorting a bit. Maybe just bring down the output. Oh, we got the blues driver on, folks. Sorry. That's what was up. Right? That's a less distortion. Sounding nice. Maybe even a little less gain on the JC. Also, I feel like it's recording really soft. So we need a little more gain on the inputs. So maybe we just need to bring up the channel volume. Right there. Bring everybody else down. Everything except for this channel. Should have volumes down on the mixer. So there's still a little bit of grit, still a little bit of drive there, which is probably natural because of the wah-wah too. I think the wah-wah. Maybe we want a little more bass here. And the level all the way up. A little tiny bit more gain. All right, I think that's sounding pretty funky. Let's try it. Anybody here with me today? Say hi in the chat, folks. I'm feeling a little lonely. Okay. There we go. It's gonna be that that kind of Bo Diddley clave kind of feel. Okay. Getting there, folks. Getting used to this still. I think this pick is too hard. I need a softer pick. For this. This could be maybe too soft. Let's see, I have a whole bunch of picks here. Maybe like that Fender Heavy, the classic. Tortex. This is soft. Kind of liking the soft. I don't know. Let's see. Do I have any of those like turtle shell looking things? Like the classic Fender Heavy one. Oh, I do have a green Tortex. I think the green Tortexes are nice. I'm used to those. Oh. So sorry y'all have to sit through me picking picks. This feels nice. Yeah, the green Tortex even looks pretty spent because it's one I use a lot. Okay. Who's here, folks? Martin Gomez. You like my song Girassol? Thank you. Thank you very much. That's a Brazilian style tune. Like Baião Forró kind of a thing. Love doing those. Oh, thank you, Martin. I don't feel so lonely now. Seems like someone's here. So, Martin, we're doing a funk tune today. And guess what? I've only gotten, after 4 hours, I've only gotten bass and drums down. Because I've been very meticulous. So we're gonna do guitar now. think it's okay up to there. We have to figure something out for that B section. So sounds off. I think there's something wrong. Let's go. Let's remove delay compensation here. So I have a feeling that it's compensating for the plugins on bass and drums and creating like a timing weirdness here. All right. Yeah, because I definitely don't feel like I played this so off as it's sounding right now. So let's try another take and check and see if it's more in time. Okay. Don't give myself enough time to turn around and put my foot on the wah-wah. There we go. Right, that's the B section. We'll figure something out for the B section. But let's first check and see if the timing is better now. Yeah. Now, who would have thunk it? I mean, I thought the delay compensation was supposed to fix such potential issues. It's actually making it worse. So no delay compensation, folks. Let's leave that off. Yep, timing sounds way better now. Now, I still think I can perform that a little better. I'm starting to think I should have done the whole thing a little slower. Oh, camera connection lost. I think my battery went out on the GoPro, folks. Let's plug it in. Plug it in, let it charge for a little bit. Yeah, it says battery low. But let's try it. Maybe we can still preview it while it's charging. Enable preview. Powering off. Okay, no. We're just going to let the GoPro charge for a while, folks. Sorry about that. We're going to bring... You can actually see a little bit of my desktop now. And maybe I'll zoom out the Sony so you can see me play, kind of, because I'm turning around to be able to step on the wah-wah over there. But still, It's better than nothing, right? Sorry again, folks. This has been one of my longer streams because I don't have to go pick up the girls from school. They're on vacation. So I can go longer today. Yeah, that's what we're going to do, but we're going to start again. Sorry, another take. I don't know. I'm feeling a little unfunky. Maybe I'm getting tired. But it can't be that I'll end today with only bass and drums, which is how we ended yesterday. Okay. All right, I would be happy with this for A and B. Now, for the bridge, we do need to figure something else out. So, and maybe we can do the phrase with the bass, and then go. Right, let's see major 7 here. Right, and the G, and then an A minor. So. And back to the E. Oh, that sounds pretty good. Let's try that. Dun 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 dun. Anticipated. You know what I just realized? A couple things. One is that now that I'm using the reverb on the pedal, we do need to record this in stereo. So that means we're going to record the beginning again. It's okay, because now I got it. So it should just be a quick one take. And stereo, guitar, and also because maybe I'll use the chorus for the B section. And that's stereo too. So, all right. So we have to set inputs 7 and 8 here. And let's just make sure that the volume is the same on both channels. So we got to bring 7 down a tiny bit. There we go. Okay, so let's do this again. In stereo now, so we want that reverb. And each time I do it, I get a little bit better at it. I'm going to bring this pedal board a little closer to me, so I'm not going so far. All I have to do is swivel the chair now. Anybody here with me right now? Besides Martin? Are you still here, Martin? Okay. Please say hi on the chat, folks. I'd like to feel company. Maybe I'm all alone. All right. Recording guitar. That's sounding okay. That's sounding okay. Getting a little better. I think maybe we need a little bit more gain on the mixer there. So let's record a little louder. One more time. So I like that. That was my best take. So I'm glad I've done it that many times. Okay. So now we're going to do that. We're going to follow the bass phrase on the transition to the bridge. And we'll turn on phaser and the chorus. And maybe the delay too. But we'll have less regeneration on the delay, less mix. No, maybe no delay. Now, do we want only the chorus or the phaser as well? Hold on, this chorus isn't plugged in the stereo. Okay, we need another cable. Where is, so that it can be a stereo chorus? Come on, that's worth the trouble. Oh man, my headphone wire is not long enough to get to where the pedal cables are. There we go. Can I reach it? Can I reach it? Ah. Here's where I have all my pedal cables, the little ones. And we need a nice stubby shorty one for this function, like this. Hold on folks, sorry about this. We need this chorus pedal to be coming in. Oh shoot, there's no stereo input on this amp simulator, so that means no stereo chorus. Are you kidding me? What would happen if we plug it in straight and use an amp sim after the fact? I think that's what I'm going to do. And yeah, so you know what? We're going to record this on a separate track. But in that case, alright. Sorry again. It makes more sense to finish recording all the mono guitar first. Oh, I apologize. Apologize for all the buzzing. So we want no phaser, no chorus, and we're gonna just skip the B section and go. But when it goes back to the A, we'll continue with the Waka Chuka guitar. All right, and then we're gonna do the stereo effect for the B section and use a different amp sim for that, so it'll be like a second guitar. But you know what? If it's going to be a second guitar, we might as well do guitar 1 with this sound anyway. Right? All right. I think that's okay. That's a good take of guitar 1. Now we can open up a new stereo guitar track. Stereo. Call it guitar 2. And this is mostly going to be the stereo guitar for... And you know what? This time I'm going to mute the mixer here, so you're all not hearing my plugging and unplugging stuff, because now we're going to use the chorus pedal, which is stereo. And we're going to use phaser. And maybe we won't even use the wah. All right, let's bring this back up. And maybe even a different pickup configuration. To create more contrast. Chorus. Now, why is it sounding like louder on one side than the other? Oh, effect level. Right, we need effect level to be all the way up. Yep, something like that. So let's do it. But you know what? I might as well record over the whole thing. Maybe it will be useful to have like a something like that happening. Yeah, it actually sounds nice to do a couple accents like this, but we need a different delay time. Like that. Oh, it wasn't the B section yet. Hold on. we're gonna. Oh shoot, that didn't record because I forgot to set the right inputs for the channel. It's 8 at 7 and 8. It's okay. That way it was a rehearsal take. Rehearsal takes are important as well. Let's do this again. Alright, we want... Oh, actually, I don't need to be facing the pedal board now. So I'm no longer using the wah-wah. Chord. I played the major 7 there. It's supposed to be dominant 7 in this part. Let's fix it. So now we're gonna do the dong 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 dong. Right? We're gonna repeat the phrase. So we strengthen it by doing it with multiple instruments. So to do that a little better. Now we want to do it again though. Dun, 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 the second time. Right. That all worked really well. It was nice that the guitars switched roles at some point, like where one was doing, the other was going, and And then this one started doing the, while the other one is doing the melody thing. That worked out really nice. But now here, where it goes to halftime, which is a part of the song I'm still not convinced works really well, but we'll go on with it. And eventually, if I have to, I'll just cut it out because it's already almost at the 3-minute mark. Doesn't need to be much longer than that. So we could probably just skip this and go right to the end vamp if I feel like the halftime part doesn't work. Anybody here with me right now? Please say hi in the chat if you are. I feel like I'm repeating myself saying that all the time. Maybe I'm all alone and I think like somebody's watching and nobody is. Doesn't matter though. I just need to get this going, get this song going. Sounded all very nice, but I think I should do double the bass riff at the very, very end. So what is it doing exactly? Let's hear it. Right. So I just played that last chord by itself at the end there so that I can possibly paste it in to the last hit there. I think that'll work. All right. So we got the guitars down. Finally, feel like we made a little more progress here. So we were just like cleaning up imperfections before from bass and drums. So let's go ahead and put that last chord where it should go. Now, the idea here, since I had to bypass the amp sim, had to bypass the amp simulation pedal, right? Because it has a mono input, and I wanted to use the stereo chorus. So the idea was to use a different amp sim, like a plugin. However, I'm starting to think it sounds really interesting. Just the guitar line, right? It's sometimes in studios back in the day, people would do that. They would just record guitars with effects straight into the mixer, and so we could use an amp sim that is a stereo plugin that would replace the pedal that I was using on the mono guitar track, or we could simply leave it be. Now, want to copy this bong to the first hit there. So the guitar is hitting with the bass and the drums in the intro. Sounds nice that way. So, right, like that. Maybe we'll mute the guitar right here for the doom, the bass thing. Maybe like this. No, it should last at least until the fill there. It's noisy. This guitar is noisy. Hear that? There's like a digital noise. I wonder where that's coming from. I'm not using any digital pedals. None at all. It's Dynacomp. Yeah, I wonder where that whine sound is coming from in my pedal board. Have to isolate that at some point. But here, maybe we can make it sound less whiny and digital if we do use a amp sim. So let's go to harmonic, guitar, amp, stereo. Yeah, we just need to turn that down. First guitar has that too. Do I have the Waves NS1? Let's see, noise reduction. Yeah, we do have the NS1. Wow, that's impressive how it works so well. Maybe we don't need the guitar amp on this guitar either if we use the NS1 on this. Noise reduction, NS1 stereo. Yeah, nice. That's working nice. Now maybe we can spread the guitars in stereo a tiny bit. Maybe also use a bit of a compression on the wah guitar. So let's go to Dynamics, Renaissance, X. On the other guitar too. I mean, I do have the compressor in the pedal. Okay, now we're gonna fix little rhythmic imperfections. Like remember with the bass, sometimes the drums would anticipate a downbeat and the bass wouldn't, so we fixed that. We need to do the same to the guitar now. Guitars. Right, here's one. Dun, 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 right? In fact, here is a case where the guitar anticipated, but the other instruments did not. The bass and drums did not. So we're going to try, right, to just sync that up. But that's going to leave a little gap. Little gap in the guitars here, which we might have to fill with something. Right. So. Yeah, but I'm always anticipating. So I think this might be a case of actually anticipating drums and bass to follow the guitar instead, right? Because the guitar is always doing that little anticipated line. So it would make sense for it to keep doing that and for the drums and bass to follow. So let's hear that. Okay, now I feel like the guitars are filling up too much of that space. Especially this one, I think. So let's see where we cut it. Yeah, right where the other guitar does like a little glide down. Maybe we can cut this one. Yep. Alright, let's go back from the beginning here. Anybody here today with me? Come on. Come on, folks. I'm actually going to peek. I'm going to peek. I'm going to go into my YouTube. I'm curious. I want to know if I'm all alone. View your channel. Using Livestream. Anybody here today with me? Come on. 3 watching. Okay. Out of 180,000 subscribers that I have, at least 3 people are watching, even though you don't want to talk to me. You don't want to say anything in the chat. That's okay. 5 people are watching. Good. Hi, 5 people that are watching me. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, right. No, it is streaming. It's just that it's not. I haven't hit play, so it looks frozen. Hey, hi, 5 people. Who are you, 5 people? Say hi to me on the chat, please. All right. So here we are making a funk tune. Yesterday we did drums and bass. Today we fixed up little things about the bass to match up with the drums better. And now we've recorded 2 guitar tracks and we're fixing up the guitar tracks. guitars are sounding really nice, really organic, vintage. It's nice to use analog pedals sometimes instead of all digital stuff all the time. Even though the amp sims are digital, I guess I could have used an amp too. Mic'd it up. Too lazy to do that. Okay, this little guitar hit here is a little early, a little rushed. Let's relax it a little bit. So. Yep, there we go. Now this that would be nice to do with the guitar, wouldn't it? What is it doing? Oh. I'm gonna have to do that with my fingers instead of the pick. Oh, I can do it with the pick. See, I'm a bass player, not a guitar player, so some fast passages is hard for me to do with the pick. But I think I can do this one. We'll try. Let's see. Not so precise. A little better. All right. I think that worked. Let's see. Let's see if we can splice that in so it works. Yeah, I just need to isolate that little overdub there. Put some crossfades in it. Yep. This halftime, it takes away from the funk, but when you think about maybe Funkadelic, for example, which was a band that mixed funk with rock, then you feel like, it's not actually so wrong, right? We can let that exist. What do y'all think? Come on, chatters. Somebody say hi to me. Now listen, already the song works with just bass drums and 2 guitars. I mean, there are bands that are just that, right? However, funk is like my favorite idiom, which makes me want to like really like do something special with this song, you know? Really make it. So even though I've already spent 2 days with it, and it's almost 3:30 here, so I've been at it for longer than 3 hours just today. I kind of feel like I should keep going. Maybe add some keys. You know, I should probably eat something at this point. But the music compels me. Music compels me. I wonder if I can already turn on the GoPro, if it's been charged enough. Let's see. Powering on. Enable preview. Starting preview. Join. Yeah, because as you see, we have a big hole here on my stream where you're looking at my desktop. That's supposed to be a camera. My camera 2, which shows the instruments that I'm playing. Oh, and there we go. GoPro is back online. Nice. So now you can see me play the keys, right? So let's check it out. Now, I had to turn way up for the... I had to turn way up for the guitar. Seems like my guitar pedal has very low output. Ah, I love this keyboard. It sounds so nice. That was a little bit of... It won't be long till I need a friend, somebody to carry on. We all need, when we're not strong, and I need a friend, I need to carry on. It won't be long till I need a friend, somebody to lean on, and just call on me, brother, if you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. Such a nice song. All right. But I don't think it's going to be a Rhodes for this funky tune, is it? Actually, it doesn't sound bad. The Rhodes doesn't sound bad. But I do think that a clavinet yeah, clavinet's funkier. I mean, come on. Now, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the wah-wah effect should be this kind, because this is like an LFO, right? Wah-wah, it's automatic. You might need it to be, there you go, touch wah. So it responds to how hard I hit it. already have a clavinet channel here, track, because at some point I did record a little bit of clav. So let's see what happens. Yeah, we want this we want the intro too. Yeah, I like the. All right, let's do this again. I think it's less octaves. It's more just maybe one hand. There we go. All right, no, this is turning out. I'm kind of following the guitar, but that's all right. Yeah, let's do the third here for the intro, and then kind of follow the guitar and do little fills that the guitar's not doing. That was pretty good up to that point. Now the B section goes to the 4 chord, and the guitars are doing like more filling out. So maybe the clav should stay on a more rhythmic roll there. All right, now I think that works for the B section, but the 5 chord that happens at the end needs to be synced up with everybody. Dun, 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 dun. Let's hear. Let's hear it up to that point. Dun, 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 ding. Yeah, that sounds better. All right, so here maybe we go up an octave. feel I can do this part better. Dun, 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 dun. Is that what it's doing? Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Now that's nice. That's nice that the clav here, while the guitars are doing just the harmony part, the clav does it like a different melody. No, I think it should do the same as the guitar here. Right? That sounds nice right there. Yeah, let's not get in the way of the bass here. The bass is doing a nice riff. Yeah, clean up some of these extraneous clav notes that get in the way. Right, so what's this melody gonna be? It could be that. Something like that works. That kind of works. I think it does. Hertz Loco, very underrated artist. I love your music. Oh, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you very much. Maybe the first part of the melodic phrase should be the same that the guitars are doing. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. We'll do that. Gotta do that same phrase at the end too. All right, so let's listen up to that point. You know, I'm starting to think that the dynamic clav effect isn't working as well. Maybe the wah, the auto wah does work nicer. But then, you know, everything I've done so far has worked, so let's just use it from this point on. Like that. No, it gets too lost. No, we'll keep it. Yeah, we're just missing some attack. Yeah, we were losing some attack on the higher notes there. So I just put up the depth a little higher. Let's try that. All right, let's try that again. Yeah, this sounds cool. Now here, it feels like the anticipation's a little too anticipated. I'm automating some volumes here. I'm cutting some clips and messing with the clip gain because I do feel like it's kind of like disappears some points. Some points it's a little too loud. Also, might as well put in a compressor on there too. Excuse me. Oh, by the way, I'm no longer as sick as I was, just a tiny bit. That's good development. This phrase sounds a little late. Sounds like a little off timing. Just this little bit here. There you go. Okay, this note right here sounds a little weird. And then I want to go the do it with the bass guitar. Right? I'm just gonna do this. There you go. Okay. Oh, almost. Sorry. It's not a key I'm too used to playing in. If this was in C, it'd be just much easier for me. Almost. All right, that might work if I just punch in the last chord now. Almost. So I keep the first two notes and then I start. Right. It's cheating, right? I'm such a cheater. Sorry, folks. So, but you know, I have Pro Tools right in front of me. How am I not going to take advantage of its, of its advantages? And so then here. Right. So That's a C chord there. And then an A, and then back to the E. Right, that's it's getting there, folks. Anybody here with me? Say hi in the chat, please. Yeah, finally we got that. You know, if I was recording MIDI, it would have been way easier. But I'm doing this old school, just straight audio, no MIDI. Maybe this clav should do the same as the guitar is doing here, like dun 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 dun. So right, so let's do that. Yeah, I think that sounds nice. You know, you gotta take advantage of melodies when they show up. When like spontaneously any instrument just kind of makes a melody, why not double it with other instruments, right? Now here we probably need this clav to be a little softer so that the guitars and bass can shine. Possibly even softer than that. So as you see, I'm always mixing as I go. I don't really separate the process of composing and mixing. A little louder last note. Right, so let's go back to the funk here. I'm not giving myself enough time to feel the groove. Still not understanding where the one is. We gotta come from way before. There's a end phrase there. So this is like a kind of just a funky vamp. We can kind of all improvise a little. So that da-da-da worked pretty good there. And now we need to do that. Ding dang ding 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 ding. Almost. Nice. Right, so let's open up the little phrase. Right, now we can turn down the clav here, both places. Again, we don't want it to overshadow the guitars and bass. Nice. You know, it's that time to put on a reverb for the overall mix. And as usual, I'm going to use the Valhalla. It's my favorite reverb. And we're going to use the concert hall. We're just going to bring the decay down so it's not like super cathedral-y. And now we're going to send that clavinet. Right, so it doesn't sound so dry. Okay, we probably don't need a click on this song, right? There's no metronome, there's no grid. So let's listen to the whole thing, how it's coming out. And again, it could probably be enough now that we have 2 guitars, keys, bass, and drums. But I don't know. I think some horns. What do you folks think? I think we need horns, don't we? It deserves it. So it's a full Ohio player's experience. So I do play trombone a little bit. So we can try doing a little trombone. Or we can go with some fake keyboard horns that sound convincing. So we'll see. But I think that's for tomorrow, folks. I think I'm tired. I'm hungry. I've been doing this for over 4 hours today. It's way longer live stream than I've been doing lately. There's still kind of a whine coming out here. Yeah, it's coming out of the keyboard. I wonder what about this keyboard is maybe it's it's probably the USB. Listen to that. The whine is gone. The whine is gone away. So I should probably be using a MIDI cable into the interface instead of the USB connection. USB is such a pain in the butt. All right. So again, since we don't have a count off, I always miss the first hit. So we just have to cut and paste it. Ding, ding, ding. Now, the drums sound soft. So what does that mean? No, it doesn't mean I need to bring up the drums because we're already at like peak headroom here. What it means is I need to bring down everybody else. So bass 1, bass 2, guitar 1, guitar 2, and clavinet. Everybody turn down in volume. guitar thing here is distracting from the bass riff. Or I could just put it where the drums go, right? Put it right where that kick and hi-hat, so it doesn't feel so lonely. So lonely. Yeah, it's a tiny little detail, almost inaudible, but makes a difference. So I do want to hear. In fact, we might need to bring the bass up a little bit in volume here, because it's all alone, right? Yeah, see? Tiny little mix detail. Hey, Tim Coggins. Thanks for chiming in. Looks like you like the idea of the trombone. I like it too. But you know what? Yeah, I'm getting tired and hungry, folks. Been doing this for 4 hours today. I didn't think, it's funny because the idea was I'm going to do funk because I'm good at it and I can do it easily and quickly. But then the reason I'm good at it is because I take my time and do it well. So it's taken 5 hours so far instead of one that I thought I was going to be able to do it in. So I think I'm going to do trombone tomorrow and maybe some synth and Hammond organ. You know, the B section might need like a nice Hammond organ bed of sound. And I think some synth bass complementing the electric bass just for some wow. And I do want to use the vocoder still, like for some, uh, you got to get down to get funky little things. So yeah, this is turning out to be quite a masterpiece that is not just a simple 1 day stream. So it's going to be a 3 day stream, folks. And tomorrow I'm going to take my time and do it really well. And yeah, I still want to add a couple of things, but I think for now, what we have is sounding really nice. So why don't we give it one last full listen to the whole thing, and then we'll say goodbye for today. Sound good? All right. Let's listen to the whole thing as we have it right now, and I'll start thinking of what the trombone could do at some point in the song, as well as Hammond synthesizer, bass, and talk box. All right, folks, let's listen to it one more time, and say goodbye. Yep, I'm happy. Funk makes me happy, even if it takes 5 hours just to get the rhythm track down. Thank you very much, everyone who joined today. And welcome to the Human Music live stream. Stay tuned tomorrow for the exciting conclusion to today's composition as we add horns, trombone, synthesizer, Hammond organ, and talk box just to round it out and make it one of the best songs that I've done so far in this live stream. I'm pretty sure. Also, the one that I've spent most time on because it's the style that I love dearly with my heart most of all, funk music. All right, folks. Without further ado, I'm going to say goodbye. Stay human. See you soon. Goodbye.